Hello ladies and gentlemen, the Enterprise Gamer today, bringing you a little bit of a debate about a potential Royal Navy carrier line. So, here are my thoughts, let's get into it. At Tier 4 we have Her Majesty's ship Arcas, the first British carrier, entered service in 1918. She fits nicely at Tier 4 with the likes of USS Langley and Hosho, which were also first carriers for their country. And she is quite an interesting design. She has very little in the way of anti-aircraft guns, although she does have a couple of secondary guns at the rear of the ship, as you can see in the diagram. Her complement is 18 aircraft, which something tells me wargaming will change, but it will be interesting to see what they do with aircraft anyway. I think she'll do quite well at Tier 4, and so, on to Tier 5. Tier 5 we have Her Majesty's ship Hermes. Hermes was the first purpose-built carrier for the Royal Navy, built from the ground up as a carrier. She unfortunately was sunk by the Japanese in Southeast Asia during a very one-sided battle against land-based bombers, which is where her problems lie. Her anti-aircraft armament is not particularly great. She typically carries 21 aircraft, so again, like with Argus, it will be interesting to see what wargaming does with that. But she's a very good, fast ship and should be interesting at Tier 5. Moving on to Tier 6, we have Her Majesty's ship Eagle. HMS Eagle was a converted battleship. A South American country had ordered a battleship, but before it could be delivered at the start of World War II, she was purchased by the Royal Navy and converted into a carrier. HMS Eagle shows the first large jump in air group size, going up between 28 and 35 aircraft. Once again, her anti-aircraft armament is not particularly good, which will be a problem with British carriers, but her air group will likely be a very strong torpedo loadout, which should prove very useful against battleships. Moving on, once again, to Tier 7, we have Her Majesty's ship Illustrious. Illustrious was the first of 4 of a class of large fleet carriers built during the Second World War. Her air group expands up to 48 aircraft, typically somewhere between 36 and 48 aircraft were carried at any time. She's a major improvement over Eagle and the previous ships. Her air group obviously being larger, she has much better anti-aircraft artillery through the 8 double-mounted pom-poms and various 40mm Bofors mounts. However, her air group, again, which wargaming hasn't told us anything about, will be an interesting one. Tier 8, we have the Colossus class, which was one of 2 classes under the 1942 Light Fleet Carrier project. Colossus, again, similar sized air group to the Illustrious class, so somewhere between 36 and 48, at best carrying 52. Her aviation facilities are reasonably good. She was known for having 2 very fast moving lifts, meaning you could get aircraft up onto the flight deck a lot quicker. Again, anti-aircraft guns. She's got a large number of 20mm Oerlikon and 40mm Bofors guns. Whether they will be any good remains to be seen, but should be a very good carrier at Tier 7. Tier 8, I mean. Tier 9, we're looking at HMS Implacable. She was the last major fleet carrier built for the Royal Navy during World War II, her and her sister. Her air group again expands enormously up to a roughly 81 aircraft, which will make her quite competitive against the likes of the Tier 9 American carrier USS Essex. She was very, very fast, very long-ranged. Her anti-aircraft guns were far more comparable to American carriers, a lot of 40mm guns, as well as her secondary guns providing a dual-purpose role. And then finally at Tier 10 we have a paper design, in that the Malta class, or the X1 design as it's known, was never actually built. Construction work on HMS Malta was begun, but she was scrapped in 1944 as the war appeared to be close to finishing. HMS Malta's specifications provide her with a very good anti-aircraft loadout. Her air group is somewhere above 90 aircraft, so comparable to the Essex class or the Midway class. But it will be interesting to see what they do with that. Then last but not least, I'm going back to Tier 8, and we have a premium design, HMS Ark Royal. Ark Royal was undoubtedly one of the most famous carriers of the Royal Navy in World War II, fighting against the likes of the battleship Bismarck in 1941. She was unfortunately sunk off the coast of Gibraltar later in the war, but I think she will do very well at a Tier 8 level, possibly carrying the Fairey Swordfish and Supermarine Seafire in a very good strike role. So, that's it, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, please dispatch a like in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel for more content. I'd also like to give a shout out to my friends in the wargaming community, MissOSovaP, Airun, Strangers123, Jammin411, Smells Bad Gaming, and all the rest of you out there. So the links to their channel are in the description below. Please go and check them out, and I'll catch you next time.